So I'm trying to remember what happened before that happened, because
When we
all
last
of it
left
faded
our-
in importance to me personally.
Everyone was running away from the
I have to say the
warforged.
magic words. When last we left our intrepid adventurers.
Yay!
Yes, we were running away from the warforged. We got a bit sidetracked.
Oh yeah, you ran away from the warforged, stopped and made a call.
Well, I
Or you
received
received a call
and I was like, I gotta take this, guys.
from the Temple of Freedom hotline.
Yes.
At which point you got one of the people killed
Yes.
at the Temple of
They
Freedom.
got themselves killed.
Are you familiar with what's... I can't remember. Were you here for our last tale telling? Or?
Not the last one, but I was there before.
Okay, yeah.
I'm familiar with,
Oh,
with
you're
the
familiar.
situation.
Okay, good. Just want to
How,
make
you,
sure.
how you've encountered something that's slightly out of the ordinary.
Yes. So,
You were gonna get forwarded to the High Priestess.
yes, that was coming up.
Yes.
And so that was like the most important thing for me, and I was looking for... There was some other stuff going on, though.
Warforged.
Yeah, there was some warforged stuff going on. We did some of that first, though.
Okay.
I'm honestly dredging it up in my memory,
Yeah.
because everything that happened after that was way so bigger.
Right?
But-
Well, the first thing that happened is I think everyone just went over to... So Kalinar
Yeah.
had left, and he's like, screw this, I'm not staying at Shady Inn anymore, I'm staying at Fancy Inn now. So you can meet me there.
He went to
So
Fancy Inn.
They went to find him at Fancy Inn. And
Yes.
they were talking about renting a room, but the only room they had next to him was like the royal suite that was 30 gold a night.
I think it was 40.
40 gold a
It
night,
was a
yeah.
lot, yeah.
Which, both of those are a lot.
It's ridiculous.
But the party looked at their piles of treasure and were like, yeah, whatever.
No, they're like, screw this, we'll just go with Kalinar. They asked if someone was on the if they could rent the room on the other side, but the concierge complained that like 40 years ago some warforged had rented that room, and then they just put statued in there and they can't get him out.
No, actually what happened was he said that room wasn't available, and then the whole party just immediately started saying, oh, it must have been rented like 50 years ago by some warforged who've been standing in there with their weapons ready for us to appear.
Yeah.
And yeah, it turns out that was partly true. Yeah, we rented the other room, the expensive one.
Yeah.
So we go to see Kalinar, because he'd run off because Warforged, and he was tired.
Yeah,
he's tired.
He's getting too old for this stuff. He's kind of like, he still has some of his old awesome stuff, but he gets tired really easily, and he doesn't have the hit points he used to.
He should have re-leveled up. Yeah, he should have re-leveled up.
I actually kind of see him as like an extreme glass cannon. Like he still has some of his like level 25 powers, but he's like he sucks in other ways.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we went to see Kalinar, and I can't remember what we talked about.
the main notable thing was talking about like you guys were saying, maybe we should just wrap up this whole like end of all things thing.
Yeah,
It's
get
a
that out of
decent
the way so we
plan.
can get to the important stuff.
Right.
And
It is a good plan. I think we should just do it.
yeah, and that was when Serendipity.
And Goldstrider Blower, Top Row Tower Ship, so let's try
Because this happened before you guys went to the Warforged again, right? That was at the very end.
She figured out the time thing at the exact same time that everything else blew up.
Right. She spent the evening researching. That's right, and like doing math and crazy equations.
So she was working on the Kalinar's plan.
How to time travel in a generic way, not just we know how to wave our magic artifact at the sigil and make it happen.
Right.
She wants to understand, not just what lever to pull, but what's the mechanism operating behind it.
And I had set a hard DC because I figured basically she'd roll each day and eventually she'd like figure out one thing she was looking for. She wanted because they want to travel to like a few months or so, some reasonable time before the big Kalinar's campaign went into their final adventure,
right?
So they can swap out Aurora.
Yeah.
She rolled a 20 on her Arcana check, like a natural 20.
On the dice, yeah. So she got like 47.
And it was way higher. So I had her not only figured out, but before she had been able to figure out the secrets of time travel, but she couldn't tell people because she couldn't explain it good enough that that the average person could comprehend what she was saying.
Right.
So
she wasn't smart enough to dumb it down.
I've almost never used like the little room in this campaign where you take someone aside, but I did for that because she failed. But this time she was able to explain it. And
turns out it's all about fabric and fashion. and stitching.
Yeah, that actually is interesting. Is sort of, I didn't interrupt with anything because it's sort of Shannon's and Serendipity's take on it all. It makes sense too. The way I envision time working is it's a 4-dimensional surface in a 5-dimensional space, and so the 4 dimensions of the surface are the 4 dimensions, but it's like a wrapping surface that intersects itself at various points, and so at those points you can mess with it. She didn't talk about the other part of it that I told her, so maybe I better save that for her to tell you about. There's another impact of it being a surface, but anyway, but the point is there are places where it arbitrarily intersects, and the sigils are an interesting spot because usually like the parts that intersect wouldn't be the same space, but it's like a kind of a knot. It's all knotted up. Time is all knotted up right there, and so that's why he was able to build the sigils across time in the same spot.
Yeah, they remain. So otherwise, it's like sort of like the potential for portals open and close as
time changes.
Time passes around. So, it's like, okay,
windows.
This week, at this point, we can travel 300 years into the past.
And to the other side of the continent.
Yeah.
And then it'll be closed.
Yeah.
And so she spent the whole evening doing experiments, doing equations, and she figured out a spot that will get them like 3 months before before the final adventure. And they've got to travel to it's like near the Clinker College, which is like in the Brown Robe Lands, and they'll come out south of the Eve Lands. And that window will be open for a couple weeks, and then it'll close. So they'll have to find a new way home. But
going forward is always the easy part.
So
you can just ask Marty McFly.
You can take the long way if you need to. Well, Marty McFly didn't have access to stasis spells, so yeah.
So she now has a way. It's not necessarily convenient. It's not as convenient as the sigils by far, but she has a way to potentially travel arbitrarily depending on how things work out, right? So
basically, the DM can allow us to go to specific spots where he has actual stuff prepared for. So,
it was like that before. Even
so every time travel experience is an ambush, basically.
Well, no, more like, we can't suddenly decide to go to the place that he's never done any prep work for.
Wibbly wobbly timey.
Well, at the very least, it takes
those giants in the far south beyond those mountains that came up once in world building and were never mentioned again.
Well, I mean,
let's go there.
Although, to be fair, I guess
find out what their culture's like.
You could probably try to do almost anything, but the thing that's nice about it is because you got to do all the equations and figuring out. Then at least it gives me some time to well, it's going to give you, it's going to take you a week to figure out. If you really want to go to this time, it's going to take you a bunch of effort to find a way, and you might have to wait 2 months for the window to open or whatever, right? So, although I guess you always have the option of using stasis and the existing portals that are consistent to go to an arbitrary time.
But even then, that takes a lot more setup. We have to get into the super past, and we have to get to the right location, and it's still time for the DM to prep. So that's the important thing.
So, but I should have interrupted this the same way because, I told her, she made the check, and I'm like, yeah, you can tell everyone about it. And she's like, okay, and so it does, and then I say, and Cricket's getting a call,
yep.
And
just as she started explaining it.
And this male you untie appears before her in ghostly form, or she can see it. Yeah. I think everyone touches fingers instantly trying to get it on, and he looks her up and down and says, you prepare to receive, the High Priestess. Mm-hmm. It looks like you are acceptable. You might want to clean yourself up a bit. And he looks around at the companions who are there, and he's like, I realize that your owners are probably going to need to talk to her, but just be aware that their appearance might offend her. Yeah. You might want to consider not having them in the conversation. Yeah. Obviously, it's not up to you, but the consequences might fall on you anyway.
Yeah, and I'm like, geez, guys, don't embarrass me. Gosh. But as I recall, Serendipity, prestidigitated everyone or something to just spruce everyone up. Cricket has a hat of disguise, so she just blipped herself into nice outfit and whatever.
So that guy left, and then it was misty and indistinct, but a form of the High Priestess appeared. And she appeared and said, "Oh, Cricket, you poor thing. It must be so hard for you dealing with this, with all these barbarians around. you're doing a really good job.
And Cricket's bliss levels were just, yay, she said I'm doing a good job. And then everyone else started yelling and complaining and arguing.
She didn't get a firmware update. She was told that her firmware was just fine.
Yeah, she said I was managing good and that my discretion and judgment was adequate. And that basically I could try to interpret things in my own way, and that was fine by her. Which, it's not being told what to do, which is the ideal situation.
Right. She just
Basically,
gave you free will.
She's telling me to be the party leader again.
She gave you free will.
Well, she said that solve the problems as they come.
Yeah, she's saying that my ability to interpret the orders I have been given is adequate to this task, even though I was thinking it was outside my purview. So I'm making decisions that are decisions that have never been made before.
Right.
So probably I should have them made by the Temple of Freedom rather than myself.
But she did also give you a connection,
a hotline,
so she can personally contact the High Priestess and encourage her anytime she runs into one of these time traveling dilemmas to let her know. And in fact, she's thinking that this hotline exists in the past, and even though she wouldn't be there, that she should go ahead and contact her in the past, and somehow the message would probably still get to her.
And then everyone in the party instantly forbade Cricket from ever using this in the past. But yeah, it was great because everyone's rolling insight checks and super suspicious, it's the High Priestess of Freedom, all serpenty and stuff. She's got to be evil. Insight check. Oh yeah, I rolled 50 bajillion on my insight check, and I was like, no, she's perfectly on the level and honest and caring.
She really cares, and she said, Cricket, I remember meeting you at the Temple of Freedom, and ever since then you've always been one of my favorites.
All the insight checks passed on that.
Everyone's Aurora's rolling I hate this person, but it turns out I love her.
They got nothing but just she really cares about Cricket and wants what's best for her.
And Croesus kept going on about Corbland and stuff, always say no, no matter what they say, no matter what the voices in my head say.
Can I talk to your dream?
And they complained about, the ETH for a bunch of slavers or whatever.
Anyway.
Right, so people were complaining about the history of the Empire, and she said, that's all in the past. We've changed things now, and the Temple of Freedom is part of that solution.
Basically, everything I've been telling the party all along, she was confirming, and I'm see, it's all confirmed. The authority has spoken.
She talked to
the one who would know this stuff.
She talked to Aurora and Croesus, and she said, it sounds, from what I understand, it sounds like you don't feel like you really own Cricket, do you?
And now your things got very tense.
People were trying to beat around the bush, but she was just driving right at that point. Do you really feel like you own Cricket?
Nobody owns Cricket.
So you're saying that you renounce ownership?
Nobody in the world owns Cricket.
She said it ended up with her saying, I think how you're treating her is inappropriate. And if you really feel that you own her, I think it will be required that you register her because of your attitude. So please register her within a week at the local embassy. There's one in Allenway. Or it will be considered that you've renounced ownership of Cricket.
I've been telling them all along, you really should get me registered. You do own me, but it's better if you register.
Which isn't strictly required, but now she has made it clear if they don't register within a week, anyone who doesn't register her is renouncting ownership of her.
Right. And this is the High Priestess of the Temple of Freedom. She's got authority to do that kind of thing.
And Aurora was horribly mad, just wanted her. But everything about her, she just seems like she wants what's best for Cricket. She's so nice.
And now Aurora finds out what it's like to be on the receiving end of a 50-plus diplomacy check. How incredibly frustrating that is.
Yeah, and so that accounted for quite a bit of the session, them trying to get out of that, but just...
Yeah, but no. So basically the call ended.
Was Serendipity into owning?
Serendipity and Hank are fine with owning, but she had a private conversation with Serendipity. She requested a private conversation with Serendipity, then Goldshredder Malar, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Souls, Strider through Time, Doom Delayer.
She knew all of the.
Yeah,
knew
and
the
was
whole
just
word.
really like into it.
Yeah.
And she always used her full name the whole conversation. She had a private conversation with her.
Yeah.
And
this was great.
in which it's interesting. None of the other characters know, but I didn't go in the secret room or anything. She offered her a in addition, if she sells, first off, she did something, and so during the conversation, Serendipity got the feeling that it would be the ultimate betrayal to tell people what she talked about in this private conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so she would really be betraying a good friend if she were to tell people what she was talked about in this
We've got
conversation.
the receiving end of the charmy type stuff as well. Everyone's getting their comeuppance for what they've done to NPCs over the years.
Basically, she said, if you sell me Cricket, you will not only get your share, which is quite a bit, but you will also get, I don't have the exact number.
407,000.
Yeah, 400, well, actually...
Or was it 70?
Here, actually I can find it really quickly, and then better.
It's either 407 or 470.
Why does it matter?
It's a special number to Serendipity.
So in addition to the fair market value for your share, I will make sure that you receive 472, 845 gold, 4 silver, and 8 bronze extra. To which she just immediately started freaking out, like
curls up in the corner, going, "How does she know? How does she know?"
Is that her debt?
Yes, that is. That's exactly her debt. How could she know the exact number? Does she know? She knows everything. So Serendipity, Bengal Sharmar, top to top steps, low tries, 3 player, is like Cricket's best advocate, and she's been taken out of the conversation, curled up in the corner, whimpering to herself. Yeah, and then we have, you remember last session ended with an enormous, hour-long debate about the morality and philosophy of slavery and all that.
Right, yeah.
Part 2.
Part 2. Yeah, of course.
Only this time we actually have to come to a conclusion.
Right.
Because, it's fish or cut bait time.
Right.
Cricket has to get registered. And so Croesus makes this impassioned, thing about one of his friends. He sort of believed that perhaps we could negotiate with and understand chaos, and so he would try and talk to chaos creatures. They'd end up having to kill them anyway, but he'd try and talk with them. And then one night, Croesus woke up to find that he'd gone crazy and killed one of his other friends, and he had to kill him. And so he hadn't told anyone about this story before. But he's telling him now, it's you don't talk to crazy, you don't talk to Horriblund, you don't compromise, you don't talk to them. And so he's sort of putting his foot down. Until this point in the campaign, he'd always just sort of, the nobody owns Cricket thing without explicitly saying he doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, not why, but explicitly, it's been convenient for him to not take a stand. He's been one of these wishy-washy, I strongly believe in X, but I'm not actually going to do anything about that, and so he decided that it was time. In fact, it was always time. He realized he'd made a mistake by not being true to his ideals. Yeah. And so he is quite firmly committed, I think, to renouncing his share of Cricket. Hank and Aurora and Serendipity, Bengal Sharmar, top of the tower steps, social time, player, are gonna hang on to their shares. Yeah. Even in Serendipity, Bengal Sharmar, top of the tower steps, social time, Delayer's case, she's it's not that she's tempted. Well, she's tempted, obviously. Yeah. She's always tempted. It's hey, let's do evil. Tempted. But no, she's told me out of character, because we haven't had opportunity to discuss in character, of course, that she doesn't intend to sell Cricket's share. Right. All the freaking out that she's doing is more over how does she know? How does she know? How does she know? Than, do I sell her or not? So that's good, because that means that, Cricket will stay at the party. The dynamics might change a little bit.
Yeah, and Hank is all about owning...
Hank is a cultural relativist. He is I don't believe in that stuff, but Cricket does.
So in order to further Cricket's interests,
yes, I'll go along with that because it's her culture. Right. Serendipity, Bengal Sharmar, top of layer, just really likes the idea of having a servant.
Yeah. Of course.
She thinks it's awesome. Aurora's the really big question here. I have absolutely no idea how she's gonna play out on this.
I think she's sort of stuck with the tricky thing of like, well, you know, she doesn't believe that she can own Cricket, but if she renounces her ownership, that might do more harm than good to Cricket's. Well, you know, it removes her ability to help Cricket potentially in her mind, so she doesn't. It's not clear, especially now that Croesus is renouncing his ownership. She's like, she's the last one who doesn't believe that you can own a person who owns a share of her.
And fortunately, I suspect that Hank and Serendipity will both be amenable to ordering Cricket to continue being Aurora's friend and all that, because otherwise there's just such a horrifying scene in my mind. It's like, okay, Cricket, let's ditch her now. All right.
Just leave her in the past.
Yep. Kick some dirt on her as we go, all right?
Okay.
No, it's funny. Cricket does actually like Aurora, but, you know, that's of lesser importance than
the orders. Yeah.
So it's totally the I don't know if any militaries actually do this, but the whole thing about special ops forces or whatever, part of their training is they have to raise a puppy, and then at the end of the training is you kill it or something like that. That sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, awfulness.
Yeah, there's some priorities in there.
Let us train you to be awful.
Yeah. Well, not awful. Obedience to proper authorities, which are not your friends.
Yeah, be willing to do what's awful if someone tells you to.
Exactly.
That's different.
Yeah. I mean, I can also be ordered to take care of the puppy and be nice to the puppy.
You could be.
And so then, after we had sort of had a... this is way taller than it is wide.
Mine is branded. It was the best thing ever for Cricket.
Oh yeah, Cricket was on cloud 9 after that session because
utterly affirmed, and
everything had gone exactly as she had always hoped and dreamed.
And the High Priestess was so nice and so perfectly in agreement with her.
Yeah.
Yep, she showed everyone that she had been right all along. And meanwhile, they're all like, you know, raging and tearing into each other behind her back, and she's all like, la 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 la, everything is wonderful, everything is beautiful. The world is so simple and straightforward now.
Yeah.
So that was actually the end of the session, but we skipped over an entire section of what happened during all that. When we actually went and pursued up the warforged tank. It was after?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was at the end of the session that was. No,
it was at the beginning.
All right.
I could be wrong, but I think I also don't remember very clearly. But I'm pretty sure that.
I just remember, I remember all the debating and stuff blending into putting our clothes on to go outside.
I thought maybe it re-flared up. Maybe.
Yeah, it could just be that we never stopped arguing the entire session.
You could be right. It's a blur in my mind too, but I thought that the warforged thing was after, because it was after you left the inn. Oh, you're right. It was first, because you went to the warforged and you came back to the fancy inn, and that's where this all happened. So you're right. It did happen at the end. Oh well. I remember it happened at the end.
It's kind of a separate issue, a B plot. Excuse me. Croesus is very, very intent on getting in contact with the obelisk. And now he knows that, someone thinks the obelisk is still around. It may not be, but he can't tell for sure. And they have this gem that you can touch that lets you talk to him. So he's like, I have to touch that.
Yeah, and it could change everything, he thinks, because the obelisk is supposed to give them the law. It's like they made it. They made it to be their boss, because it's basically a computer essentially that can interpret the law. So it's just faster at figuring out the law from the law for them, right? It's like a super tool that tells them what to do. So based on their input.
This whole session was basically all about getting service calls to update our various characters' firmware. But yeah. We needed to find the warforged's new hideout.
Right.
Maybe it was the old one. We went in. Cricket went in there, and
you didn't know at the time, because actually, I remember what happened is you heard noises tromping outside your room.
Yeah, the warforged in the room next to Kalinar's.
Right.
Left the room. As soon as we got there, it was like, okay, they've been waiting 50 years. Now they all bug out as soon as we get there, and so we follow them.
The concierge calls out to them, oh, that room you wanted is available now. there's a group of 5 of them. They followed them surreptitiously. Cricket, I think, was in the front. Everyone was following Cricket.
Yep. Because I'm the only one that can.
I led them
worth a darn
to a seedy neighborhood, to like a seedy back door, and the guy just did the same like tap, like complicated tap with his fingers. So the door opens, they all go in, door slams.
Aurora went and did a bunch of streetwising. What was the name of Jesse's boys or something?
I don't remember now.
Yeah.
Bob's? No.
No, it was like, I think it was something like Jesse's boys.
Probably Jesse. I don't remember what it was. Let's just say Jesse.
Okay. So yeah, she does some streetwising to find out, who is in there, what's up, and
it's basically like this thug gang, Jesse's boys. You can go there to get like illicit potions and like sell your stolen stuff, and just don't piss them off because they're not very nice. But whatever, they're easily accessible.
So
people ask, are they warforged? No, they're just whatever.
So we go over to the place, the secret safe house place, and we do a whole lot of screwing around trying to get the door open. We try lock picking. Now the lock's actually been broken off. There's no lock on it, but it's barred. And then Serendipity, Bengals from the top of the tower, Doomglare casts Knock, which knocks the bar off and out of the bracket. And before we can open the door, we hear someone put it right back in place. So obviously there's a warforged on the other side of the door, or someone anyway. So Cricket tries just knocking on the door and says, "Excuse me, Jesse, we're looking for some boys." And that distracted the table for a while because we had a lot of fun joking about, Jesse, who's you go to when you want some boys? It's not creepy, it's just some boys, It's like, "I'd like some boys, please, Jesse."
Yeah.
Perfectly innocent. So anyway, I can't remember what happened. I guess we were annoying enough that eventually the warforged on the other side of the door opened it for us or something. And
someone made a crazy diplomacy check.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Aurora.
Hey, we want to come in and, talk to you about talking to the obelisk, and we just want to come in because we want to listen to what the obelisk has to say, and, whatever, we don't want any trouble. We already know you're here, so there's no point being secret. And I remember Tim was like, "Yeah, that's not gonna work." And then the warforged on the other side was like, "Okay," opens the door, and they led them in, and it's just an old dilapidated warehouse.
Yep. We go down to the basement.
No, actually, this one wasn't the basement.
Oh, okay.
It was just on the main floor.
All right, we go to the main floor,
and
there's like 30 warforged in there, even more than before. They must be gathering them all together. Yeah. And the crystal thing is there, and Jesse and his boys are piled in the corner. They're very dead.
Yeah.
And also, I guess, an enormous number of frozen turkeys are here.
Yeah.
What?
From last time. It's the same ones from last time. They moved. And so, while they talked to the obelisk first, but while they were waiting, they're like, "Okay, you guys sit down.
Right.
You unthaw some of those turkeys, I guess."
They're going to be serving turkey to their guests for a long time.
Right.
Since they have so few guests. So, we talked to the warforged, and there's always this undercurrent that, they're going to kill us at any moment. So it's a little bit...
They're all
nerve-wracking.
Everyone's hands on their weapons. All the warforged, their hands on their weapons.
And we're all hands on our weapons. Of course, we've done this before we've recovered our dailies. I complained about that. It's like, I don't have Thomas Trek this time, you guys. And there's 30 of them. I think they could probably kill us if they wanted to right now. Fortunately, they don't want things. They just do things. We talked to the warforged, and they're like, "Yeah, totally. We had to move safe houses because you found our previous ones, so we killed everyone here and moved in here."
So really, their deaths are your fault.
And they're like, "Yeah, right. Whatever, Mr. Kill Everyone lot." And they're like, "Yeah, we'll probably have to move again and kill a new batch of people and take over their stuff."
I think we're convinced not to.
Yeah, we talked them out of that. Like, we'll just find you again. You might as well just stay here.
Right.
It's actually less likely that you'll draw attention if you stop moving around and killing people.
They explained that it was decided that killing these guys was optimal because, well, the obelisk said so, but also because they're a bunch of random thugs. No one cares if they die. They won't be missed. Mm-hmm. They're at least, they're the most optimal group to kill and replace.
And Aurora was all like, oh, but their mothers will miss them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's Aurora. So, we talked to the warforged, and they actually allow us, or allow Croesus anyway, to try and contact the obelisk through the gem.
Wow. And
so Croesus puts his hand on the gem, and I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. It was like, hello, I'm Croesus. Something else Croesus said here, I can't remember.
It was mostly along the lines of, I hear that you're the obelisk, but you might be like a fake evil thing pretending to be the obelisk, so can you tell us if you're the obelisk?
Yeah.
And anything that you could tell the Oblin would be cool, except you wouldn't use the word cool.
But yeah, basically, I need a service update.
Yeah.
And I need you to confirm that you're the obelisk and explain why you haven't come back to the Oblin. And then the warforged basically said, it'll probably be a little while before the obelisk responds. Do you want to eat turkeys or poop? and then we're like, no, I think we'll just leave. And so we did.
Yeah, they didn't want to, but I think there was another diplomacy check in there. I remember the waystone that was a communication crystal was covered in Oblin writing.
Yes.
And it was written like the way the law is written, but it was just a bunch of nonsense. It didn't make sense.
And Croesus was like, I'm sorry, your waystone is stupid.
I can help you fix that if you want.
Yeah.
That was one of the things he said to almost. And also the way they learned the law by singing it, and it was making like a hum that reminds you of the tunes of how you learned the law, but it was just a bunch of nonsense.
I'm sorry, your waystone is stupid. It was a great line. So we have that pending. They never got back to us. Presumably they will send a runner or something. Now that the warforged have been reduced to our message boys.
Well, they said that you guys said you would come back tomorrow.
Okay. That works too.
Which may or may not be true, but that was the...
I suspect we probably will. We can't leave town immediately. We have to do the registration thing.
I think that was part of the diplomacy check, right? They're like, we'll come back tomorrow, and they believed you, and because you probably will. And they're like, okay, well, I guess there's nothing for us to lose. Don't bother thawing those turkeys, boys. Looks like turkey's back on the menu, boys.
So that was the end of the session?
Well, actually, then we had the enormous argument about cricket and whatnot. We retold a little out of sequence there. But yeah, I think we've hit all of the points now. So next session we'll open with them registering cricket.
Right.
I presume. I mean, we have a week, but I suspect that at least some of the party aren't going to want to put that off to the very last minute.
The High Priestess never talked to Hank, which he was
a little upset about.
Either privately or publicly. She never addressed him at all.
Though actually, I think in his monologue afterwards, he mentioned that maybe that just means that the High Priestess thinks he's all right. He's got it straight.
Well, he doesn't know that the secret conversation with Serendipity was offering to buy cricket.
Yeah.
The only public conversations have basically been sort of kindly admonishing Aurora and Croesus for not properly owning cricket and saying, you've got to do it properly. It's what's right for her.
But yeah, cricket is a little bit nervous because our next plan is we're going to travel back in time about 5 years. And she was alive back then, but owned by someone else. And so she was almost like, okay, maybe I should I page,
We're doing, maybe you should contact her in the past.
Yeah.
When the event is actually going on.
Yeah. But no, she's been ordered not to, so she'll just use her best judgment.
Well, I guess you could contact her.
Which is what the High Priestess wants you to do anyway.
Yeah. That's why she's alright with us now. So yeah, I think that covers everything that happened in that session. And what our plans are for the next bit. We're going to try, I guess, and get this Aurora thing wrapped up as quick as possible so we can get on to the important stuff. I know this was probably like the main plot of the campaign that you had planned out, and we've been doing this all in crazy order.
I have been trying to think of like that as entirely as a D&D campaign, like trying to make it, thinking of it as like, adventure hooks and sessions and adventures.
Yeah.
And like totally like the way it worked, the way that things work for PCs.
Right.
Yeah, like none of them got killed off until the final battle because, what DM would just arbitrarily kill off a PC in some minor conflict randomly happening early in the campaign. When you have a whole character arc planned out for that character, that would be ridiculous. But it's fine to kill them off flagrantly in the final battle, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, once we've got the save the world thing out of the way, we could finally get that cobblestone back to its
yeah. I mean, that is the most pressing quest.
It's fairly far down on our quest stack. We've got to unwind a lot of stuff to get to it.
That poor cobblestone. It's heard that a lot. So I was like, as soon as we unwind our quest stack, look, you reached level 30 and reached your epic destiny, and we're forced to become a demigod. That's never happened to me before.
Yes, we asked this cobblestone, show us all the adventuring parties you have adventured with over the years.
There's Kyle and I.
Yeah.
You bring out the thing, Kyle and I just looks so guilty.
Like, that's...
Uninstall it and reinstall it.
We were forced to make a choice at the end, do we go and try and destroy the void creature, or do we bring this thing back to its home?
Guess we chose wrong.
I wonder what level the cobblestone is at this point.
Gotta update it or something.
It's tied to a stick. It'll be a really powerful weapon.
It's probably been with you guys, soaking up XP by proxy the whole time.
Well, it's been a member of our party the whole time, so yeah.
Yeah.
Epic level pebble.
Fortunately, it wasn't with the party at the beginning, so it doesn't own a share of cricket. I think rocks are specifically on the list of things that aren't people, though. So.
Yeah.
That's for, domestic kindergarten. It's like, okay, class, what are not people? Rocks, sticks, pieces of wood.
Warforged.
Witches!
How does she know? How does she know? She shouldn't know. How does she know that I owe 472,845 gold, 4 silver, and 8 copper? Like the copper thing. That's really throwing me off. How does she know to the decimal place? I mean, I'm not going to sell Cricket. Cricket is my friend and servant. Domestic. But friend. But how does she know? Oh, and by the way, I figured out what we need to do for the time stuff. By the way.
Dear Diary, today I met the snake priestess lady that Cricket thinks so highly of, and I understand why she thinks so highly of her. She was utterly convincing. She seems like she really cares about Cricket. And my heart was just like, yeah, I care about Cricket too. And we have so much in common because we both care about Cricket. And then later I was thinking about it and I was like, you saw her once from across a room. And your level of care seems so intense. It just, I don't know, since I've been here, since I woke up, as far as I can remember, that's not normal. It's not normal for people to do that. And I don't know, Croesus is really upset. He associates her with Corblin. He is super upset that we should not trust her. I don't know. If she is lying, she is the best liar I have ever encountered in this life that I can't remember. I wish Shadowrun was here. I guess he is here somewhere. I wish we had time to find him. I wonder... Well, I guess she's part of a race that destroyed his whole people, so he might be a bit biased against her. But anyway, if I don't say that I own Cricket within a week, then she says that I don't own Cricket. And that's kind of a conundrum, because I don't want someone else to scoop Cricket and use her for, evil purposes or harm her or try to convince her she has no... or try to let her believe she has no soul. If we can just keep her safe... until the rest of her people are 21, then it'll become obvious that they have souls. And then she'll realize that she's a person and everything will be okay. Also, if the nothingness doesn't get out. Yeah, that's the plan. We just got to keep her till she's 21. Once she's of age, then it'll all be... Yep, this is a good plan. I have a plan. Croesus, I have a plan. It's okay. I got it.
So, that was interesting, having an audience with the Serpent Priestess of the Empire of Endless Flowers. She answered some interesting questions that were very helpful to Cricket. And then she personally talked to Croesus. and asked him about his ownership of Cricket. And then she personally talked to Aurora and had a similar discussion. And then she talked to Serendipity Van Goldstride and Malor, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Stole, Stride Through Time, and Doom Delayer. In private, even. It was interesting. And then the discussion with the rest of us commenced, and she didn't talk to me in person. I mean, I guess that's good, because she doesn't have a problem with the way I'm handling Cricket. But, yeah, I guess we need to get Cricket registered now, although not everybody has equal consensus on that, and it's not going to be easy coming to a solid agreement on any of this, and I don't even think it's going to be possible, actually. And I'm fine with agreeing to disagree, and I'm even fine with being proven wrong on this whole thing, but as far as I'm concerned, Cricket knows more about the Empire than the rest of us do. She's from there. I trust her judgment on it. So I'm willing to help her in whatever way we can.
The Oblin have teachings about making a mind. It's what we do. We find living but not thinking wavestone in the heart of the earth, and we breathe life into it. We give it purpose in life, and it becomes more Oblin. There are two ways you can make a mind. One, you can do what the gnomes did with the clinkers. You take it, you mold it, you shape it, and you make it your child. Because you want to make something new, something different, something that thinks and breathes for itself, that is new and special and important and loved. The second thing you can do is what the Eve did. You can create a slave. They had slaves. They wanted to make it right to have slaves. So they lied to themselves. And now this lie is tearing our party apart. By all that is in me, by the stones of the grey wall, I will stand against this.